A few weeks ago, I did an episode where I kind of mapped out my thoughts on my belief system when it comes to the paranormal. And in that episode, I showed the famous Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot film from 1969 and sort of talked about my thoughts about cryptozoological creatures and whatnot. Well, a few weeks ago, there is an incident of an alleged Bigfoot here in Michigan, in Monroe County, Michigan, which is basically between Detroit and Toledo, Ohio. It's just south of Detroit in the southeastern part of Michigan. So let's take a quick look at it. As you can see that on May 18th, Edward Henry and his 12-year-old son were fishing in Plum Creek when they heard a rustling and a loud thud. They claimed to see a 6-foot tall hairy creature with a hairy back and big butt cheeks, which I suppose they were being thorough with their description of what they saw. So we'll give them the I like big butts reference aside. The sighting occurred near a jail and a quarry area, and experts are intrigued. Now, as far as I have heard and read, there isn't any video of it, but this TikToker sure seems to claim that they have Bigfoot footage of that sighting. So let's take a look at whatever video he has. Now, I will say in Monroe County, there's a lot of wide open area between Detroit and Toledo. So this could most definitely be somewhere in Monroe County because there are a lot of wooded areas in that vicinity of Michigan. It was kind of a quick video, so let's take a look at it again and we'll sort of kind of dissect it a little bit. You don't really get a clear picture of it at any point during this video. And I suppose if you ran into something unexplained in the woods, first of all, why are you filming? Are you just filming while you're taking a hike? Or were you hunting or doing something else and you saw this creature and you pulled out your phone and you started recording? I'm not, discounting that as a possibility. So I suppose if I would be somebody that saw something like this, I probably wouldn't be as steady as I possibly could with my filming either. But they didn't seem to be afraid. They were kind of running towards it. And I think most people, if they saw something like this in the woods, they'd be afraid. They wouldn't be running straight at it. Some people would, don't get me wrong, but most people wouldn't. And like I said, you don't really get a really good picture of it. And of course, just like the Patterson Gimlin one, whatever it is kind of looks at you and starts walking away. And if this person is running towards it, then why wouldn't they keep following it? And the video just ends here in 2 seconds with nothing else to see. So I'm kind of dubious of this video. Not saying it is or it isn't Bigfoot, but there's too many kind of check marks that you can make when you're sort of looking at videos like this. As far as the Monroe County video or the Monroe County claim goes, it's very interesting that there was a sighting in southeastern Michigan when most of them are more on the western side of the state, the northwestern side to be specific. So, what was it? I don't know. Interesting none the least. But hey, let's take a look at a couple other Bigfoot, Boog? Bigfoot videos, shall we? One of the problems that I have with Bigfoot hunters and Bigfoot believers are they go out in the woods, and I actually applaud them for their passion with trying to find Bigfoot. But they go out in the woods and they record things, and they see Bigfoot in everything. And that's kind of the problem with it is I've talked a lot before about any sort of investigation. It doesn't necessarily have to be paranormal investigation. And I use the example of when we had the ghost hunting group, we tried to duplicate things that we may have captured and our clients may have experienced. That way we can kind of explain it away as something logical before we listed it as paranormal. But it seems that the lion's share of Bigfoot hunters seem to see Bigfoot in everything. And I'm going to give you a good example with this next video.
This is the raw footage here, and then I'm going to do some stabilization and I'll do some screenshots where I zoom in so that we can check out the face and see if it's changing expression or
What is changing expression? Because what I see is you filming in between two trees. And what do I see behind it? A bush or something.
moving around. The body, what you would expect to be the body area, really holds still, and at one point you can see its left thigh on the right side between these two giant trees. These trees
No, I can't honestly see its left thigh anywhere in this video. All I see is probably another pine tree or a bush behind those two trees.
are just massive. Northern California, the closer you get to the coast, the bigger and bigger the trees get. Here's the stabilized.
Okay, it's stabilized, and I still don't see a Bigfoot. I see a bush or a tree behind the two trees that you're filming between. But like I said, Bigfoot hunters see Bigfoot everywhere.
I did these zoom ins so that we can watch the face, see if the face moves.
Yes, let's see if the face moves because I've yet to see the face.
Or changes expression.
Okay, the video is almost over, and reading the comments on this video, it was almost like 50-50. It was people like me that was like, I don't see anything at all other than a tree or a bush behind these two trees. And then there was the people that are clearly absolute believers, as I've called it on Too Boldly Pod, that anyone puts anything out there and without any sort of substantiation will immediately believe it. But I don't see anything that would even remotely make me think that what we're looking at is a Bigfoot. I could totally be wrong, but I've probably watched this TikTok now 2 dozen times, and every time I watch it, I don't see anything at all, even remotely close to being anything alive other than maybe a bush or a tree. So I don't see anything that looks like any kind of bipedal entity, if that's the phrase you want to use. But hey, maybe you do see something in that video. And if you do, let me know in the comments and maybe you can set the record straight for me because I got nothing. This final video, I think, is kind of tongue in cheek or supposed to be tongue in cheek, but I can't really tell. Well, you know what? Let's just take a look at it and we'll talk along the way. Okay, you see something walking through the woods that he's pointing at. We'll take it from there.
Proof Harry is real.
Harry is real. I'm assuming that's a reference to Harry and the Hendersons, and he's claiming that's a Bigfoot.
Don't know about the Hendersons, though.
Called that one. Short video, so let's take a gander at it again and sort of dissect it. All right, I paused right where he's pointing, and you can clearly see something walking through the woods. Can you tell what it is? No, it could be a multitude of things. It could just be somebody walking through the woods, going for a nice stroll in the woods on a nice sunny day. You get nothing close enough to even discern that it's possibly some kind of mythological creature known as Sasquatch. So I don't know if Conspiracy Matt is doing this video as sort of a spoof, kind of judging by some of his facial features that he does in this video and the things that he says about Harry and the Hendersons. I'm guessing it kind of is, but his name's Conspiracy Matt. So is he or isn't he? Let's keep going with it, I suppose, and just watch him now.
Proof Harry is real.
I can't tell whether he's being sarcastic with that eyebrow raise or if he's trying to be humorous.
Don't know about the Hendersons, though.
So is he just adding a little humor at the end with the Hendersons part? Or isn't he? And here's the problem with a lot of people that post stuff online, especially stuff that's that short. You don't really give a lot of context, so we don't know what that video, where it is, how that video, if it was in somebody's backyard on the side of a mountain, and if that's the case, it was probably just somebody out hiking. You can't really tell. You can't tell whether it's a strange creature that we haven't identified yet. You can't tell using the Squatch vernacular. You can't say whether it's a Bigfoot from another dimension, which cracks me up because there's absolutely zero proof that A, Bigfoot is real, or B, that they are interdimensional creatures. And then there's other people in the Bigfoot community that just act like they know everything. And we really don't know anything. We don't know whether they're real or not. You can believe that they're real, but we don't have any concrete proof. And trust me, I'm not trying to rain on anyone's parade because my poster here in the studio is a big giant one that says I want to believe because I want to believe some of these things are real. But we need proof of it. We need a body. We need some DNA. We need some verifiable scat, to use their terminology. And we don't have any of that because I'm not saying they don't exist, but people go in these groups and on TikTok and Reels, and they act like they have all the answers. Like the example that I a couple weeks ago I shared, where if there's two tree branches down in the woods, then a Bigfoot researcher will claim that that's a structure that a Bigfoot was building. Well, it could also just be two rotten trees that fell over in the woods, which is probably a more logical answer than a structure, because you would think if Bigfoot is building domiciles in the woods, we would have found one by now, but we haven't. So, I don't know. Maybe somebody watching this video will have more verifiable evidence or proof than I have. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to click like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. And if you have a video you'd like me to respond to or react to, send it my way. I'd love to include it on a future show, because remember, nothing good ever happens until after dark.